Hello everyone, is the Prophet Michael David, aka Aries, and today we're going to talk about the Riemann hypothesis solution video that I'm going to make here in the near future, or at least how I got to this point that I'm working on it again. But before that, we're going to talk about colloids again. Okay, so skip to the end if you just want to hear about the Riemann stuff, but I warn you, I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it, just how what I've been working on lately and how I got to the point where I thought of this really new, unique way to solve the Riemann hypothesis. Okay, but first we got to talk about colloids and some of my other work that I have posted on this YouTube channel. So I've got to the point where I'm so positive I'm correct that I'm trying to contact mathematicians to get my work either verified or if they can find a problem in it, either one. But no one's been able to prove me wrong for 3 years now. But I am trying to contact mathematicians, and I'm going to show you exactly what I sent them. And it's not complicated, nor is it very long. So why I haven't gotten any responses is more on them. It's because they're lazy. It really is. But I'm going to basically just show you what I sent them, read the email, which I can do in under a minute, and maybe elaborate on it a little bit so you guys can maybe understand it better. And then from there, I'll go into the Riemann after that. Okay, so those are the only two attachments that I sent to them. My Collatz algorithm, which I've shown you guys plenty of times, and then that screenshot of the spreadsheet that just helps me explain why there are no divergent chains in the Collatz game that can go to infinity. But now I will show you the actual email in two parts, and then I will just read it to you. And you can screenshot my Collatz algorithm and the screenshot of the spreadsheet and just listen to the words I say, and I've tried to make it as simple as possible, as logical as possible. All right, so now I'm just gonna read the email to you and maybe elaborate on a few points. The email is not that long. My name is Michael David Harrison, and I am a geometer. I have solved the Collatz conjecture, amongst other things as well. In good faith, I have attached my solution algorithm as well as a spreadsheet that I constructed. The Collatz game in its most basic form is not about the complicated relationship between the infinite branches of all natural numbers, but the simple relationship between the mod 6 lines. To completely prove the Collatz conjecture, you must prove two things. Number one, the Collatz game can only go in an infinite loop in the 4-to-1 loop. And number two, the Collatz game cannot have a divergent series that goes to infinity. All right, number one, my algorithm clearly shows when viewed from a mod 6 analysis that there are only three possible loops in the Collatz game. The 6 mod 6 to 6 mod 6, the 4 mod 6 to 2 mod 6 to 5 mod 6, the 4 mod 6 to 2 mod 6 to 1 mod 6. The 6 mod 6 to 6 mods loop is always x divided by 2, and so you're always divided by 2, and so it always decreases by definition. This can only happen a finite amount of times until x becomes OG 6 mod 6, which is 6. The loop ends as x goes to the 3 mod 6 line. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 is OG 3 mod 6. The 4 mod 6, 2 mod 6, 5 mod 6 loop is always x divided by 4, which I mean 3x plus 1 divided by 4. And so only decreases, and so always decreases, that should be always, as long as x is greater than 1, which all numbers in these mod lines are by definition. 4, 2, and 5 are greater than 1. This loop can only happen a finite amount of times until x becomes OG 5 mod 6, which is 5, and then the loop ends the game shortly thereafter, like most Collatz games do, 5 to 16 to 8 to 4 to 2 to 1. Lastly, the 4 mod 6 to 2 mod 6 to 1 mod loop is also x divided by 4, 3x plus 1 divided by 4, and so only decreases as well as long as x is greater than 1. But eventually, all Collatz games will get stuck in this loop because it is the only infinite loop in the game, because it's the only loop that satisfies satisfies the equation 3x plus 1 equals 4x with a whole number that exists in the game, and that number is 1. In conclusion, the Collett's game can't have any infinite loops other than the 4 mod 6 to 2 mod 6 to 1 mod 6 loop, because the other two loops are always decreasing and therefore can only do finitely. Number 2, on whether are there any divergent series that go to infinity. Simply put, the algorithm also shows why the game cannot go into infinity, because all numbers up to infinity fall on a mod 6 lines, a certain mod 6 line, and therefore must conform to the relationship of the algorithm. But I did try to construct an infinite series of 3x plus 1, only down, divided by 2 once chains, because these are the only chains that can actually increase to infinity to see if they could actually exist. But as you can see from my spreadsheet, while longer and longer chains exist as the numbers get bigger, the chains are always finite in length, and there is always a longer chain in the series. Then I said, I hope to hear from you. Have a good day. And oh, by the way, the Collett's game is related to perfect numbers. They are beautifully intertwined. Michael. So while talking to you, I had a couple of typos and everything, but any mathematician should be able to understand that. And like I says, it says more about them being lazy, not getting back to me, than about my information. I would love for somebody to prove me wrong, but it's not going to happen. All right, so now we get to Riemann and chasing the Riemann hypothesis. I recently found that YouTube video, and the thing is crazy awesome. I will try to explain what this guy did because I kind of understand it, not everything, but the Riemann zeta function, which makes that crazy spiral that you've probably seen before, you can construct in a couple different ways, but it has another theorem called the Dirichlet's eta function, which is kind of like the mirror image of the zeta function. You can use one to derive the other one. I remember seeing a couple of videos of people doing it. I think black pen, red pen was one of them. But so this guy somehow used the Dirichlet eta function to find the zeta zeros for the zeta function. And it just looks so crazy how it builds on itself. And it's not a short video, and he has other ones too. And I highly recommend you watch them. If you get epilepsy, don't look at this stuff. But it's amazing to see just how. And I watched that video, and I knew that eventually I would have to go back to the Riemann hypothesis, but it's like the worst thing it's so irrational, it's so transcendental. I can't use my normal tricks and stuff, right? I can't use mod lines, I can't use digital roots, I can't use any of that stuff. It's just so transcendental that I just watched that video, and for like half a day I was just super demoralized, like, oh, I'm never gonna figure this out. It was just a sad moment. But then, and this is the happy part of the story, in my moment of despair, or at least in the moment in which I doubted myself the most in at least the last couple of years, I decided, well, then let's go with the stuff that I've already proven. And, that's when I decided that I would try to contact actual regular mathematicians and everything. And so I wanted to make sure that I was correct. So I kept watching those Veritasium videos over and over and over on Collett's and perfect numbers, and looking at my spreadsheets and making sure that I was correct. And then, I looked at some stuff up on Wiki, like if I had to explain certain questions to them, like just going through what they would have questions for me about and everything. And then I just was on Wiki, and I saw this formula, and yeah, it was like a lightning bolt. It's epiphany and everything. It's happened to me before, but it's a wonderful feeling. And every single time it happens, it's amazing. But after watching that complicated video and doubting myself, like, I'll never be able to figure this out. It's just too complicated. It's too rational. It's too transcendental. I just thought of this really simple elegant way to prove it, or at least try to prove it. All right, like I said at the beginning, I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it or even show you that equation or anything. I know I'm maybe being kind of a tease, but I told you that up front and everything. But yeah, that's probably going to be my next video. Kind of just depends on how well my work goes from here on out, or how much I do. Right now, I'm still in the thinking phase, but I can already see what it's going to look like and everything. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you understand my college solution better if you actually looked through the email and looked at it again. But signing off, as always, rule number one, do not touch other people without their consent. And rule number two, it's all about honesty. Lies are a take down. All right, super excited. You all have a good day. I will talk to you later.